And as usual with Thursdays, I always forget to take down that screen. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Late Night with Grey. I truly appreciate you all being here. Let me see if I can say what's up to a few of you guys real quick. I got Rudy in the back, so I don't want to take too long. I'm going to try to rush through this a little quick. We got D14, Sean in Alaska, Not in My Home, Keto Homestead with Jess, Joe Morgan, Zane, Thorhaven, JH556, D14, thank you for the super sticker, Chief Prepper, Thorhaven Farm. Let me see, Milo on the ready, Boston Rock 76, Gardner Josh, good to see you, brother, as always. Let me see here, Monty, good to see you, man. Let me see, let me make sure I didn't miss anybody, kind of Doc Mac. Let me see. I'm trying to go quick, folks. D14, thanks again for the super sticker. D14, I forgot to put the banner down there, so thank you. James at the Nut House, always good to see you. Thank you for last night. You know what I'm talking about. Jen G. Let me see if I can catch up. D14, Jess, James. Liz, glad you could make it. I'm so glad that finally someone told you that you won all those great prizes. Can't wait to get those out to you this week. I'm going to try to catch up. I'm kind of scrolling as fast as I can. Sarah, if I miss anybody, I do apologize. I don't want to keep Rudy back there too long. Ms. Me, CKOC, what is this here? Kit Carlson, Laura, Peter, Tooth Fairy, Blue Vandal, Not a Beeswax, Fahome, 2C, Missy May, Sarah Goldie, and Joe Morgan. What's up, brother? Rip Curl. All right, long enough. You know me. I do the same thing. Really, I like doing it, right?
I'll tell you what, Grey. I almost signed off, man, because you just take way too long to say hello to your folks.
I always use you as my reference too. What's up, Tooth Fairy, CB, Reno?
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Alaska Prepper.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here tonight. Good to see you all. I see a few familiar faces out there.
It's always good. I like that cross-platform kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
Stuff like that. A lot of folks, because we have a lot of good people in this community. Angela, Dana, Old Mutt, Kelly, Prepper Book Club. They're all kind of slowly rolling in here. Hopefully they're getting their notifications and so on and so forth. So, folks, so this is Late Night with Grey. This is me and Rudy. We're hanging out. It's not like an interview thing. We're going to talk about some stuff that Rudy is, to me, Rudy, he might not look at it the same way I do. To me, he's more of an expert than I am when it comes to fiat currency and gold and silver and all this other stuff in the economy. So I've been wanting to do
not a financial advisor.
I know, right? Oh, man. What's up, Prepper Nerds? Swamp Billy, Morty, and all you other folks that I may have missed. And I keep on forgetting to throw that banner up there for people know to hit that thumbs up and participate in the super chat of the month. There we go. All right. We're all ready, man. All right, Rudy. So a lot of you folks, and I don't know if you want to start with this, Rudy, or not. A lot of you folks saw what I did on Sunday with the IMF and the $650 billion. And I was trying to get Rudy's thoughts on that. What's up, Rolling? Laura, Sean? In that whole thing, I just wanted... How do you personally feel that is it just putting us deeper into like a debt situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So what they're doing is they gave the IMF $650 billion of our currency, of our wealth. So when you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, don't look at it as $650 billion. Look at it as a few seconds and minutes of your life. That's what they just stole from you, okay? And what they're doing is they're giving that to the IMF. The IMF is converting that into SDR, special drawing rights, which is just a fancy word for another fiat currency that is printed out of thin air by a world bank that no one elected, right? So we're giving them the money. Nobody elected them. And then they're deciding what countries to give it to. For, the diseases, for this health crisis relief. And it doesn't really matter what it's for. It doesn't really matter what it's for, whether it's with good intentions or not. The idea that an entity can take your wealth without your permission, to me, is disgusting, because they already take more than 50% of our wealth, of our life. Think about it this way. more than 50% of your life, of your working life, is taken away from you without your permission. Why do I say that? Because when you get paid, who gets paid first? They take your money before you get your money. And they take it without your permission. And the reason I say without your permission is because if taxes were held off to be paid at the end of the year instead of incrementally as you get paid, how many people do you think would pay their taxes? How many people would write a $20,000 check if they made $60,000 that year? Would you? And if you would, how much would that hurt? They don't want you to see how much they're taking away from you. So instead, they take it away little by little. And in addition to that, they create inflation, which is the printing of money out of thin air to work on their projects and to give away to other nations and other people at the expense of those people that actually work and produce. So it is your life that they are taking from you, just not all at once, just a little bit at a time. So if people looked at it that way, I think that we would have a different system now. However, I can't blame the general population for not knowing this, because they have been kept ignorant all their lives, having gone through the public school systems and also, public colleges and private colleges as well. I like to tell people that don't know about this, that are somewhat ignorant about this, I say it's not your fault, and this is why. When I was a child, I was taught that this is a bottle, right, or a flask. So this is what I call it today. But imagine if when you were a child, every time that this was shown to you by your parents, they said, this is a shoe. What would you call this today? You would call it a shoe, because that is what you were taught. So I don't put the blame on the ignorance that people have today. However, with social media and with the internet and the abundance of information that there is out there, we should definitely be researching what it is that our government does and why it is that for the last 100 years or so, a little more than 100 years, our dollars, i.e. our minutes, our seconds, our hours, have been degraded to where they're only worth about 1% of what they were worth 100 years ago, meaning that the dollar's been devalued about 99% from its inception. So think about it that way, and maybe you'll have a change of heart when it comes to criticizing what the government does with all of this money that they print out of thin air.
And I want to ask you a question, but I paused on something, and there's probably a million other things that have popped up since then. So hello to everybody that I may have missed. I paused on Prepper Book Club. And I think Rudy may have discussed this or talked about this at one point, because Prepper Book Club said, thoughts on the Wells Fargo not giving lines of credit anymore?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is my opinion. I think I'm right about this, but think about it this way. When you go out and take out a personal loan, you're looking at anywhere between, if you're not a millionaire or billionaire, right? If you're not what I like to call the elite, right? Because people that have more money than they could ever spend in their lifetimes, right? So if you're not one of those, if you're not a Mark Zuckerberg or a Jeff Bezos who doesn't need a loan, you're going to pay higher interest rates. Those people that need a loan, that don't need a loan, that have the cash to do it, they're wealthy enough to have assets that they can use as collateral and get very, very low interest rates. We're talking about 1% interest rates. Whereas if you or I went out to get a personal loan, which is like a line of credit, we would be looking at anywhere between 8 to 12%, right? That's about what a personal loan runs at. Now, why would they do that when they know that most Americans are really in need of cash and they are more than willing to spend on their credit cards and pay 20 to 28% interest? Why would they keep that line of credit open? So pretty much what they're doing is they're taking away your option to borrow money at a cheaper rate, because they know that most people now are spending a lot of money on credit cards. As evident, I think the numbers for May came out a couple of weeks ago, And it was like one of the biggest months of credit card spending that there has been. It was like $40 billion in 1 month that was spent on credit cards. So would they rather loan out $40 billion in loans and earn 8% interest, or loan out $40 billion in credit card revolving debt and earn 20% interest? I mean, that's my opinion on that. And they can probably see what's coming down the line as far as bankruptcies and things like that. So they would rather collect that high interest up front with the credit cards to at least recoup some of what they see that they may be losing here in the future.
That makes sense, because I remember, I swear you had talked about that at one point on one of the channels, and I remember catching that because I saw the article and I was like, okay. I said, I know Rudy's going to pick up on this here. So, you know, the question I was thinking about as you were talking about the whole taxes, wasn't taxes on the citizens, wasn't that supposed to be something temporary? And then it became to what it is today?
Well, it was temporary until 1913. I believe it was the 16th Amendment. It was temporary until then. I believe that the first president that ever enacted an income tax was President Lincoln. And he enacted that tax in order to pay back the debt that was accrued during the Civil War. However, once that debt was paid back, he eliminated the tax. And then come 1913, Woodrow Wilson, whom a lot of people, for what reason I don't understand, consider a great president, pretty much pimped out the United States and sold us out to the Federal Reserve in the form of allowing them to print our money, which the Constitution says that we shouldn't be printing money. We should only be coining money out of precious metals, i.e. gold and silver. I mean, it says it in the Constitution. And he also pimped us out by passing or signing into law the 16th Amendment, which in turn created the income tax.
Interesting. That's I did not know that. Thank you for sharing that. I like being educated, my friend. D14, thank you again for the super chat. Guilty on the credit card spending. I hear you, brother. You know, we got to do what we got to do. D14, you're probably going to win this month, man. You've been sending me a lot of super chats and super stickers. I appreciate that.
That's what he's using his credit card for.
Yeah, he's using the credit card to support GreyMan. He's using it to support GreyMan. But thank you, D14. All right. So, man, I was thinking about something. So I did some research, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. So a lot of folks, there's other channels, and no fault to their own, but I'm a research nerd. I start digging into stuff when people talk about stuff. A lot of people have been talking about what they call hyperinflation. Now, so I researched here in the U.S., the only time I could find that we were on the cusp of hyperinflation was during the Civil War, and it was the Confederate States. Is that correct?
I believe that during the Civil War, the greenback, I think it was the greenback, they created the greenback currency in order to afford to continue to fight. And it did become hyperinflated. It pretty much became worthless, right? And then they went ahead and reverted back to a bimetal monetary system. Okay. So I do believe that it pretty much became worthless. Now, hyperinflation will hit the U.S. one day. The only way that I can see it being diverted from it happening sooner than later is if and when the Federal Reserve comes out with the CBDC, central bank digital currency. Because when they do that, they're able to administer negative interest rates, meaning that they can put a timestamp on your money. So for example, let's say that you have $1,000 in there today. They can program your wallet to say that in 14 days, that $1,000 is going to lose 5% of its purchasing power. So in that turn, people will spend their money quickly, more quickly, and put it into the economy. And that in itself will create very high inflation. So, you know, if we have a CBDC, we will get extremely high inflation, and eventually we will get hyperinflation. We don't have a choice. Mathematics does not lie, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have a choice. We will see super high and eventually hyperinflation if we keep going down the road we're going, because the government spends too much money. It spends too much money on war, and it spends too much money on social programs here at home. And the only way that it can fill in that delta or the difference between what they collect and what they spend is by borrowing from the Federal Reserve, which is inflationary. Go ahead and answer all your super chats, man, and then I'll continue.
I see them popping in. I like to be respectful, brother. You know that.
No, go ahead, brother.
Laura, thank you for the 2 super stickers from what I can see. Zane says it only takes one to win. Got to give some competition. Milo on the ready, thank you for the super chat. I need to win. And Laura again with the super sticker. Laura is a super sticker champion. I tell you that. Thank you guys so much for the super chats and super stickers. Truly appreciated. But Prepper Book Club had a question. Let me see if I can go back to it. Let me see here. Prepper Book Club asks, what hard goods do you recommend getting into outside of the normal prep items to combat inflation? That's a good question. Doc Mac, thank you for the super chat as well. Yeah, I agree. I knew we were going to have this conversation. And
ladies and gentlemen, you can't eat it, but
you can try.
Silver or gold, or silver and gold can be exchanged for any currency in the world. There isn't a country that you can't go to. There is not a country that doesn't exist where you cannot take an ounce of silver or whatever denomination of silver or gold that will be exchanged for that fiat currency. And yes, maybe you can't go to the corner store with an ounce of silver and buy whatever you want, but you can go to your coin shop, exchange that silver for those inflated fiat currency notes, and then take those notes to the shop and buy whatever you want. The idea is that precious metals will preserve your purchasing power. So whereas today an ounce of silver is $25, let's say, right? An ounce of silver is $25. Let's say that a haircut is $25. In 20 years, let's say a haircut is $100. I bet you that 1 ounce of silver will be at least $100, if not more. So it preserves your purchasing power over time. In my opinion, it is not a speculative asset. So if you're planning on, let's say, buying a house in 2 years and you have $100,000 saved up, I would not go ahead and purchase $100,000 worth of silver so that I can hold it for 2 years. It is a long-term hold that will protect your purchasing power. Take a look at if you know how to look at charts, go ahead and take a look at the chart of silver and take a look at the chart of gold, and you'll see that through the last 100 years after we were put into the after we transition to the Federal Reserve note, that silver and gold have kept their purchasing power. I think you've probably heard me use this example several times, but where is that thing? Let me show you it. Oh yeah, I kept it out here on purpose just in case someone actually sent me this. This quarter right here, this is a 1964 quarter. All right, it's comprised of 90% silver. This is the money that we used to use here in the United States before we got pimped out, before Nixon took us off the gold standard, all right? So in 1964, the average price of gasoline in the United States was about 24 cents. So we can call that 25 cents. In some states, it might have been 31 cents. In some states, it might have been 18 cents. But the average was about 25 cents. Today, what's gas going for in Florida? Grey?
We are at $2.89 a gallon.
Wow, that's awesome. Here it's like $3.59. Okay, so today, this same quarter that was minted in 1964, I can take this quarter to my coin shop, and they'll give me $4 and change for it. Now the question is this: did this quarter retain its purchasing power? Absolutely. I can buy more than a gallon of gas today. And this was able to buy a gallon of gas 50 years ago or 55 years ago. So throughout history, for the last 6,000 years, roughly, 6,000 years for gold and about 5,000 years for silver, silver and gold has been used as money because it fits the definition of what money is. So it doesn't matter to me what the bankers do to the price of silver, the price of gold. Like I said, mathematics does not lie. And in addition to that, nature is nature, and you cannot manipulate nature for very long until it reverts back to its mean. Meaning that if they're holding the price of gold and the price of silver down, manipulating it down so that they can buy more on the cheap and so that they can convince people that it's not worth anything, eventually nature will take over. And what I consider silver and gold right now, the way that I see it is like, consider a beach ball. It's right now, silver and gold are in negative, are like in deflation, right? Consider a beach ball, all right? And you take that beach ball and you press it under the water. The farther down that you press that ball, the more and more it wants to go up. And eventually, when you can't hold that ball anymore, that ball is going to shoot to the moon. And that's exactly what's going to happen with precious metals. Because, like I said, mathematics does not lie, and nature always returns to its mean. There's nothing that they can do about it. They can try to, keep manipulating it for as long as they want, but eventually they will lose control. And even with them manipulating the price now, and for the last several decades, it's still been able to keep up with inflation. Just imagine what will happen when they could no longer control it.
Bingo. And great examples. Laura, thanks again for the super sticker. Liz, thank you so much for that super chat. And yes, you did win. And sure, if that's what you want, that's truly appreciative. Liz, you're always very kind. And I saw something else in here. What's up to everybody that I may have missed? I'm just trying to focus in because I'm learning here with Rudy as well. So hopefully you guys are taking some of this information as I am. Dragon did say something. I saw something pop up that Dragon said, U.S. Constitution only allows gold, silver to be used as legal tender. There was never an amendment to change that in our Constitution. You see,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The Constitution nowadays is treated like toilet paper.
Yeah,
that's how it's treated by our politicians. That's why I don't believe in government, or at least, I don't believe in the government that we have, because a democracy. First of all, we're not a democracy. All right, we've turned into a democracy, but we are a republic on paper. That is what we are. We are a constitutional republic. However, when the Constitution is no longer abided by, what happens? You get turned into a democracy. And a democracy, in my opinion, is one of the worst forms of government, because it allows the 51% to tell the other 49% how they can or cannot live their lives. And to me, that's not freedom.
Right. Rena, I don't know if I missed you, but thank you so much for the super sticker. Gray Alaska, do either of you know anything about the admin getting, let me see, what is this? Jeremy Sullivan, what are you asking me? Gray and Alaska, do you either of you know anything about the admin getting the UN to come in to investigate us for racism?
I haven't heard about that.
I seen something, and Twitter is, you can take Twitter with a grain of salt. I saw something about that, but I cannot verify that information currently. But I'll look into it for you folks.
You know what, Gray? Something that I like to, this is what I practice. I don't listen to any of that. Whenever I see articles or stories about like the UN or even the IMF, obviously I'm familiar with what happened with the $650 billion because the money came from the US. I don't really pay too much attention to that, because as far as I'm concerned, the UN can pound sand. The UN serves only to create the opposite of peace throughout the world. It's the way that they keep themselves, I guess, needed, right?
Right.
In my opinion, they're not needed. They should be dismantled. We should get rid of them. We should just separate from the UN. We don't need them. They are just trouble. So I could care less what the UN said or what the UN is going to do or whatever, and if there's ever any blue hats on ground here in the US, I feel sorry for those people. I really do.
I would agree with you there. What's up, Hawkeye? Good to see you.
Hawkeye's in the house.
Yeah. As soon as that's what I was thinking. Reese's Resources, what is up? Good to see you. Northern Girl, thank you guys for jumping in. All right. So where were we? We were in silver and that. I'm trying to think where we were left off at before I got sidetracked. Does that happen to you, Rudy? You get sidetracked with chat?
All the time, but I blame it on my senility. I'm senile.
Yeah. I try to use that too.
I blame it on my TBI.
Oh man. Montana Sky says, Alaska prepper, off subject, but thanks for teaching me how to make ghee. Your video is really helpful and easy to follow, but making it ever since.
That is awesome. I love hearing that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's something I'm going to be stepping into here soon, the whole canning thing here. But we'll see how that goes for me. Let me see if I missed anything. I'm trying to make sure. What's up, Tennessee Tactical? I probably missed a lot of you guys' questions. I do apologize. GreyMan, disable your face. Yeah. All right. All right. I think I've caught up to what everybody said. I hope. I do apologize if I missed anybody. All right. So, and that's the reason I was asking about hyperinflation, if I can remember what I was talking about, because I was curious. I've looked at hyperinflation in other countries. Where was it? They were up to like 2,000%. Was it Africa? Or was it, God, I can't remember now.
Well, I mean, Zimbabwe. Yeah. Zimbabwe's, I think, done what? Hyperinflation like twice? Mm-hmm. This is their second or third time. Same thing with Argentina. Argentina is really more of a default. They defaulted on their debt. But same thing with Venezuela. I mean, it's happening all over. People just have to look and people always revert back to, well, it's not going to happen here. There's the U.S. Well, they may have a point. It may not happen for a while because the United States is the reserve currency of the world. And that may be one of the reasons why we haven't hyperinflated, because most of the dollars that have been created are outside of our borders. So they're not actually here within our economy. But imagine there's this is just the stock market alone. Just the stock market alone, there's about $11 trillion of stocks that are owned or of shares of stocks that are owned by outside countries. So imagine if those countries decided to dump their stocks. Imagine what would happen. I mean, it's about a quarter of what the stock market is worth. People would be getting out of the stock market like crazy and taking their dollars and buying real stuff with it. There's so many different scenarios. Look, I don't worry about hyperinflation. I don't worry about it. I don't worry about any of that because I know that what I'm doing will work. All right. History has told us that if you hold real goods and that if you hold precious metals, try not to have any debt, even though some people would argue that having a lot of debt is good during hyperinflation because you can then pay it off with cheaper money, with worthless money. However, we don't know what rules the government are going to change and when they're going to change them. So why take that chance? And I think that is, more of a moral thing for myself as well. I would rather just not have any debt than to try to have debt to get out of it with cheaper money. So yeah, I don't worry about that stuff because I've positioned myself, and I'm not rich. I'm not a millionaire. I consider myself a thousandaire. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I don't even have $100,000, but I do know that I have enough to where if a severe crisis did occur, like a hyperinflationary crisis, that my preps will get me through that crisis, and then my preserved wealth will allow me to strive when the crisis was over and we entered into that new paradigm, i.e. new financial system. Right. So just position yourself by diversifying in everything, right? Diversifying everything that you have, from food to currency to real money, as in gold and silver. And I even dabble a little bit in cryptos, right? Because I like to be diversified. And in my opinion, cryptocurrencies are here to stay. People can say whatever they want about it. And I'm not a holder of a lot of cryptocurrencies. The way that I talk about cryptocurrencies in my other channel, people may think that I've got the whole house invested in it. No, I don't have a lot. It's just that I see what's coming, and cryptocurrencies will be in our future. I think that the next generation, probably within the next 25 years, the children that are born in that generation will not even know what a dollar feels like, a dollar bill feels like, because there just won't be any. We'll be doing everything electronically.
Which is to me a scary fact, and I'll get that into a second.
Yep.
Jeremy Taylor says, GreyMan Prepping and Alaska Prepper, you guys need to do more shows together. I would love to, but he is extremely busy. It's he has you've done interviews all week, I think, right, Rudy?
Yeah, I did one. Well, we did that one on Monday, and I did one today, right before this show here. And I think, well, I have my live streams too, you know. So
yeah, right. And you got a lot of work you got going on. What is Tennessee Tactical saying? GreyMan,
and I'm building my bunker, Gray, and
yeah.
I'm building the bunker on top of that.
and what's funny, because I'm a member on your channel, so I get to all the extra stuff too. And I get stuck watching your content sometimes, you know. But I feel like it's educational. I like to watch content that I can learn from. And but yeah, let me see. D14, thanks for the super chat. The sheep live in life of The sheep live its life in fear of the wolf, only to be slaughtered by the shepherd.
That's right. There you go.
But let me see. Tennessee Tactical is trying to grab my attention. I want to ask Rudy about the gold. I have the money to buy 2 ounces of gold. I've studied prices back to the 70s, and the increase is amazing at $1,790 an ounce. Will it rise again?
Okay, so check this out. People have a misconception of how gold is valued. People think that gold is valued in dollars. Okay? How that gold and silver are valued in dollars. It's the opposite. It is the dollar that is valued in gold and silver, because this never changes. This is 5 ounces of silver. It will never change from what it is today. The only thing that changes, that affects the nominal price of gold or silver, is the value of the dollar. Now, what you have to think about is this as well. Even though the government comes out and says that we have a CPI of 5.4%, right, a consumer price index, their term for inflationary prices, right, which is a lie. They like to call it a CP lie. All right. Even though that's the case, when you consider the purchasing power of the dollar against the things that we need to live, it's a lot higher than 5.4%. So what you want to ask yourself is this, does it really matter what the price nominally valued of gold and silver is? Sure, we all want to get more for the same number of dollars that we worked for. But the strategy that I use is that I don't care about price. The strategy that I use is that I dollar cost average, meaning that the first week of every month, because I get paid on the first of the month, right? I remember I retired from the military, so I have a military pension. So the first week of the month, I don't care what the price of gold is. I don't care what the price of silver is. I go to the coin shop, Alaska Rare Coins, and I get whatever I allotted for that month. Some months it may be more, some months it may be less. I remember a few months back, I had like a $500 bill come up out of nowhere. I think it was for dental, for my wife. Yes, for my wife's dental. It just came out of nowhere. Like, yeah, I didn't know we were going to have to pay this. Okay, no problem. Paid it. But guess what? I didn't get as much silver that month than I normally do. Why? Because all I have budgeted for silver was a certain number of dollars. And that $500 bill ate into a lot of it. But I still went and got like 3 ounces of silver because that's what I could afford. It's about being consistent and not caring what the price is, right? Because what you're buying, if you're buying silver or gold as an investment, then you're doing it wrong. Silver and gold is real money. So when you exchange your fiat currency for silver and gold, it's because you're going to hold it for the long term, knowing that in 20 years, that silver and that gold will have the same purchasing power that it did the day that you bought it. So if you take a look at an ounce of silver today, $26, whatever it is, can buy you about 10 loaves of bread. I guarantee you that in 20 years, an ounce of silver will be able to buy you 10 loaves of bread just like it was able to buy you 10 loaves of bread 107 years ago. So it doesn't really matter. My point is it doesn't really matter what the price of gold or silver is. Now, let me go ahead and take it to the technical part, all right? Because I do like to study the chart of gold and the chart of silver. Right now, for anyone that knows what a cup and handle technical pattern is, that is one of the most bullish patterns that there is. And right now, gold is getting ready to complete a decades-long cup and handle pattern. So a cup and handle means that it went from a high, it hit a low where people like to accumulate, and then it went back to a high, and then it dropped a little bit, and then now it's getting ready to go back up. That's your cup right there. I mean, let me see if I can put it like this. That's your cup right there. That's what the pattern looks like. And if you look at the gold chart from a technical perspective, it is drawing out a perfect cup and handle formation. However, I don't really, it's not something that I look at every day. I do whenever I do a video for the Alaska Prepper News channel, because I cover that every time I do a video. But it's not something that I'm concerned with to look at every day, because it's for the long term. My hope is that when I die, I would never have had to have used any of my gold and silver, and that I can pass it on to my children. But I know that I have it in case I need it, in case something happens. So what I would say is, I'm not a technical advisor, but dollar cost averaging is the best way to go. Just dollar cost average, buy a little bit whenever you can on a regular basis. Don't look at the price, just look at your ounces. Don't count your silver and gold in nominal terms, count them in ounces. I know I beat that question to death, Greg.
No, you're fine, brother. I'm trying to see someone. Ghetto prepper, I'm not sure what that means. I didn't see all the caps, so you're good. It says, I've been trying to tell Rudy that for a few weeks he was tripping about Google using his camera and location in a video. I don't know what that means.
Oh no, yeah, I did a video about that, how Google was taking pictures from my phone from inside my vehicle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you ought to go take a look at that video. I don't know, it was a few weeks ago. It's I think the title is something like "We Have No More Privacy" or something like that, or "Privacy is Gone" or something like that.
Was that on the regular channel or the news channel?
No, the regular channel. Yeah. So I got a notification from Google from the email where they tell you where you've been every month. I never looked at it until I got an email from them where it showed a picture that was taken from my phone inside of my truck looking out. And I was like, I never took this picture. How did this picture get here? So what happens is whenever I drive around, I don't really like to listen to the radio very much. Mm-hmm. And I was waiting in line in a coffee shack, the little coffee shack that I go to once in a while. And I picked up my phone to look for a podcast or a video, and they must have taken a picture then, because it showed the crack of my windshield and my truck and the truck in front of me and everything. And I'm like, why would I take a picture of the truck in front of me while I'm getting coffee? So I was like, wow, I was flabbergasted when I seen it. I was like, wow. But yeah, but I went ahead. Somebody sent me an email that showed me how to turn everything off that they can track you with on your phone. So I went ahead and did that.
That might have been Ghetto Prepper. And I just caught something by Northern Girl Hobbies. Question from Blue Vandal: what's the best app to monitor precious metals? It depends.
Kitco. Yeah,
Kitco was one of the ones I used to use.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They're all pretty much the same. Go to Kitco, go to sdbullion.com, and they pretty much tell you what the price is. I think it's a 5-minute basis. It changes every 5 minutes to what it is. So you can find it anywhere. Just press in SD Bullion or Kitco, and you'll be able to track the price of gold and silver every day, on the 5-minute mark, I think it is.
Yeah, you can even put it on your phone like how I have it on my screen. I just like to keep a track on it.
Yeah.
I just saw something. Hawkeye said, your silver beards look awesome. Thanks, Hawkeye. Oh, man.
I like that. Well, when I started doing this channel, Gray, I was Blackbeard, and now I'm Silverbeard.
Are you now? Yeah, mine's gone for.
I'm Silverbeard now.
It's been gone for years, man. People used to ask me, like, Gray, do you have any hair? I'm like, man, I had hair, but ever since I was in the military. Okay, in high school, even, I know we're going off topic here, but even in high school, I used to shave my head because I didn't like having to comb my hair. I used to use too much gel and crap. They used to call me pretty boy. I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm just going to shave my head. And then I got into the military right out of high school and shaved my head then too. So I just been shaving my head for the last 40 years. Oh man. But yeah, I've been gray for probably who knows how long. It's the kids. That's why I blame it on.
There you go.
Oh, let's see what I've probably missed some stuff. I'm going to see if I can go back in here. Arkansas whoop ass. Is that did you change your name, Arkansas? Oh man.
That Arkansas in the house. He came over here to troll, man.
Yeah, because I have
your moderators. Get your moderators on Arkansas right now.
What's up, Just Exploring? Fox It Outdoors. What is up, brother? And let mine grow. I held for good to see you, Arkansas. Oh man. Sometimes Thursday nights can get a little lively. But I do. So a lot of you folks, I know some of you folks in the beginning asked me like, hey, Grey, I've never seen this subscriber only thing. I learned this from Rudy over here because I was trying to figure out a way just to keep everybody that's subscribed to the channel. Those you guys are the core of the channel, and I figured it keeps the bad stuff out. So I was glad to find that thing, and luckily Rudy pointed me in the right direction for that one. And Northern Girl, you did have a question too for Rudy. I know I saw it somewhere. Let me see if I can back up because you were talking something about dog. Or hold on, does Rudy AP prep anything for pet worms at GreyMan Prepping?
Yeah, diatomaceous earth. I mean, that's great for a lot of things. It's even good for yourself to eat if you have a bug in your stomach or something like that. As long as it's food grade, make sure it's food grade. Agreed.
Matt, I was going to ask you a question, but someone else had a question before me, so I figure I'll give the subscribers the opportunity to ask questions. I could just call you. Hoot Owl wants to know, how are your potatoes doing?
Hey, what's up, Hoot? They're doing great, man. I just checked them the other day. I took a little bit of dirt off the top of one of my plants just to see, and they're growing, man. I'm pretty excited. I got like 45 bags of potatoes. I am really, really crossing my fingers and hoping that I get at least a good 200 pounds this year. It's going to be awesome.
And then Fox is talking to me. I'll just say this now. Trim the tops of your basil. Trust me on this. You're only going to need 3 to 5 full flower sets to get enough seeds. Fox, you know, it's funny I say that because I started watching videos on harvesting basil seeds, and it was pretty cool. But you're right. I need to trim them because I do have a lot of flowering basil because of the heat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've had a lot of plants go to flower. Some good, some not so good, because of the heat down here and the humidity.
Yeah, I have to. Unfortunately, my cilantro is like going to flower like really quick, and I'm like, man, that stinks. But I've got a whole bunch of seeds. But yeah,
you know what's doing really good in mine that it just doesn't care about the heat or nothing is their oregano. It's just saying, loving it. The oregano is just loving it.
Oregano is like a weed in a way. I mean, it grows pretty close to the ground, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing kind of what you're doing because I don't want to put anything in the ground because I want to have everything where I can move it. So they're in all grow bags, but they're doing well.
Good.
What I was going to tell you, I am growing something that you probably could never ever grow, possibly in the last.
Don't even start with it, man. Don't start with the avocados, man.
Well, I have one of those trees too, but also I have a banana plant or the banana tree or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, that's invaluable right there. That's awesome. You have avocado and bananas. Incredible.
There's a benefit to this environment.
Yeah. I agree.
Let me see here. Tell APA I'm excited for him and his potato crop. Will do, Hoot.
Yeah. I'm really happy with the potatoes. They're doing awesome. And you know what, Grey? I don't know if you saw this video where I showed it, but I planted about 50 or so bags.
I watched that one.
Did you see the one where I said there was like 5 of them that didn't have any leaves coming out of them?
Mm-hmm.
There's potatoes growing in there.
With no leaves.
With no leaves. I was like, what? So I still water those because the reason I found out is because I was going to use those ones that no leaves were growing out of. I was just going to use, I'm thinking that the potatoes in there rotted or something, right?
Right.
So I was going to use those to plant my tomato plants and to plant my cabbage plants. Well, I started pushing the dirt aside and I feel potatoes in there. And they weren't like little itty bitty potatoes. They were like egg-sized potatoes.
Wow.
So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh man, that is awesome. So I just covered it back up. I throw a little bit of water in there every once in a while. I put less water on those than I do in the one with leaves. But I just want to see what happens at the end of the season. See, I never seen that before. I was like, wow, that's awesome. So we'll see what happens.
That is intriguing. And Heather Hildebrandt, yes, I have a mango tree that drives me nuts, Heather. It's twice the size of my house. It's probably 2 stories tall. Mangoes everywhere. It's yeah, it's great in the aspect of for a source of fruit. But
hey, Gray, hey, can you take over for about a minute? I need to let my dog out. She's whining over here.
Yeah, I got you. I'm able to catch up on a few things. Do what you got to do, brother. It's Thursday. We're hanging out. Do not let your animals breathe in that. Yeah, no, Suburban Hillbilly, you're correct on that. Let me see. Citrus does well in the Southwest. Yeah, I'm Prepper. What was it? Prepper Book Club that said that. I'm planning on getting because I want to do. Have you guys heard of key limes? Okay, so some of you folks who may not know this in chat, I was born in the Keys, specifically Key West. I spent the first 10 or 11 years of my life there, so I grew up on key lime pie, and I want to get a key lime tree, but I can't find one here locally. I can find lemons and limes and oranges and tangerines and all that kind of stuff like that. But I'm trying to find a key lime pie. So I'm talking to some of my family members down south to see if they can get me a tree to bring it up here. Because as far as I know, even in my zone, I can grow a key lime. Let me see here what I'm missing. How's your garden doing? Harvey, my garden is actually doing pretty good. There's a couple things. The watermelons, the stink bugs have destroyed pretty much my watermelons. They're called squash bugs as well. I call them stink bugs, squash bugs. I've used neem oil. I've used all kinds of other things. Bioxo, thank you for that super sticker. I've used a lot of all the most natural possible ingredients I can on these, and it's a consistent issue. They're injecting their poison into the veins or whatnot of the plant, and they're destroying it. I'm only going to probably get one watermelon off each plant. The rest, it's just going real south on me. I've learned a lot from this experience with the watermelon, but that's the great thing is just learning all the stuff I'm learning now and all the stuff I'm learning from you, the subscribers. Let me see here. What did I might have missed here? How's your garden? I'm planting Yukon Golds. Oh, Yukon Golds. Nice. Montana Sky. Let's see here. Heather Lakeside. Sorry to hear that. Farmerson Prepping. Thank you, Farmerson. You know, smash that like if you're hanging out with us tonight. It's always appreciated. It helps YouTube find the channel and gets this message and spreads this information out there. Trying to find a key lime pie. Try a big Kaylin. Yeah, but they're not the same, Kaylin. I'm telling you, you can have key lime. It's just like buying a Cuban sandwich. If you go down to Key West or even Miami, but Key West specifically, there's a restaurant or a little shop. It's called Five Brothers in Key West. If you ever get a chance to go down to Key West, Florida, find Five Brothers. They've been there since before I was born. Best Cuban sandwich you will ever have in your life. Just telling you. But key lime pie is the same way down there. I'm telling you, key lime pie is way different than you would buy at the store. It's never going to be the same. And someone's talking to me about what would you do next? Let me see. How do you buy gold and silver? Where do you buy it from? I used to go through what Rudy's, was it SD?
SD Bullion?
Yeah, I was going through SD, but then I finally found a guy that I made friends with that deals in precious metals here locally. And it took me a while. Took me a while to find this guy. And here's the great thing. So let me show you something real quick. And I saw something about the dehydrator and about the mangoes, and that's a good idea. I'm trying to find if I can find this here. I'm trying to go through this silver here. Anyway, so let's say this silver coin here. See, hopefully it'll focus on me. There we go. So that's a silver, right? 1 ounce round. If it has any scratches or dents on it, he puts them to the side for me and sells them at spot. I don't have to pay a premium. So he sells them to me at spot.
Awesome.
So
that is awesome, man.
so it's like you said, Rudy, make friends with these guys. Make friends with these guys. They will hook you up. And he's a good guy, man. He's a nice guy. And this, I don't know, this might upset people or not, but what drew me into them is he had a big sign on his thing when I walked up to the thing when the first time I walked in there, and it said, "No masks, please. Cannot enter without a mask." I was like, or you cannot enter with a mask on. I was like, man, that's crazy. because you know you guys are getting where I'm going with that one. But he was the first, and I was like, all right, this must be a good guy. But if you can, like I said, Rudy, if you go to Rudy's page, he has a link to SD Bullion there. And also, like I said, if you can find a local coin dealers, but usually I like this guy because he doesn't really deal in like the coins. He deals in precious metals. When you walk in there, he has things from tenths of an ounce all the way up to, I think like 5 pounds, and he has silver, gold, platinum. Makes it really easy for you.
Yep. Yeah. Always try to find a local shop first, one that you can trust and one that you can build a relationship with before you go online. And if you have to go online because you can't find a local shop that you can trust, or just because there isn't one around you, the only reason that I promote SD Bullion is because they're the only precious metals company that I know of that's debt free. And to me, that's a big deal that they don't have any debt, because it's just another layer of protection on the money that you send them. I think it was in Florida. I think it was a company in Florida. I forgot their name. I think it was, I forgot their name, but here about 5 years ago, they went bankrupt. And anyone that had sent them money because they placed an order, they lost that money.
Wow.
So with a precious metals company, in my opinion, that's debt free, I think that's a little bit more security on your side, because a debt free company more than likely won't go bankrupt.
Right. Suburban Hillbilly, I'm going to try that. He says Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew or Captain Jack's Dead Bug Dust works for stink bugs. I'm going to try that because I've tried everything else. Appreciate that, Suburban Hillbilly. This is what I like about you, the community, because I've learned so much when it comes to gardening from all you folks, because you guys know this is my first year doing this. It's my journey through to self-sufficiency. How important is solar to your preps? Invito Veritas says, how important is solar to your preps? For me personally, being in the Sunshine State, very important. I don't know for Rudy. Rudy's in Alaska. And
it depends where you live. Yeah, it depends where you live, and it depends what lifestyle you have. You know, if you have a lifestyle where you rely on electricity and you live in an area that provides you enough sunlight to power your meager necessities during a crisis, then absolutely, it's great to have solar panels. And it also depends where on your priority list they should be. In my opinion, priority is those things that you need to stay alive. So food, water, medicine, self-defense, those things to me are priority. And before if I didn't have any kind of backup for electrical power, before I bought a solar generator and solar panels, I would definitely first try to purchase a small generator or a mid-sized generator that ran on both gasoline and propane, because that's going to give you absolute power. All right, you don't have to worry about the sun. All you have to worry about is making sure that you have a decent stockpile of gasoline and propane. And the reason I include propane in there is because propane lasts forever. Propane will outlast the cylinder that it came in as far as longevity, and you don't have to treat it with anything. Whereas gasoline is a lot more volatile, right? So you have to be very careful where you store it. It can go bad after a certain number of years, even if you treat it with stable. You know, usually if you treat it with stable and you have it in a sealed container that doesn't allow any gases to escape or any air to come in. Exactly. And they also sell a stable now that protects against, what do you call it? Ethanol, that protects against ethanol, right, too, which is good. So, you know, even if you put stable in it, you're looking at the most 4 years, I would say 4 or 5 years if you have it in a sealed container. I've actually used gasoline that was like 5 years old that didn't have any stable in it. It was in a sealed container and it still worked. I used it on a generator to try it out and it still worked. So yeah, I would definitely go with a generator first. And then after that, go ahead and I would say save up for the best solar generator or solar system that you can get instead of getting, you know, something really small. Save up for the best that you can get and then go with that and use it. Even if you don't need to use it. Like, for example, I don't need to use my solar panels here. I'm good. You know, we don't go through that much electricity here in a month. but I still use them just so that I can be, so it can be part of my routine. So what I do is, where's my little solar generators over there? I have a few small solar generators, and what I do is throughout the day I power my devices with that, my phone, my tablets, a flashlight. If I need to power a flashlight, I power them with that. And then the next morning I take it out and I switch it with another small solar generator that I had hooked up to my solar panels outside. So I do that on a regular basis just so that I can get used to doing that. It's just part of my routine. And yeah, so use it, mate. That way you know that it's working. That way you know how to use it. So
no, that's smart. A friend of mine they just had a power outage. Someone was working in on their land, and they knocked the power out for the entire block, right? And I said, well, I thought you had solar panels. He says, I do have solar panels. I just don't have any batteries and all the other stuff that goes with it. And he already had spent a lot of money on that. I was like, wow. I thought he was good to go.
It's like buying a car without any wheels on
it. Bingo. So hopefully that was a wake-up call for him to see, like, well, I need to get batteries. And I took your advice as well. I had a small generator. I think it was like a little 3,000 watt or something like that. I gifted it to my father, and I have my new one. Should be here Monday. Now, some people might not like the brand I bought, but I did some research on it because I couldn't. The Furman was more than the other one, and then I just tore it all apart. And this one was shocked me that it had over 9,000 reviews done on it, specifically folks in Florida who use this generator for the last decade or a version of it. And it is a multi-fuel. It is a propane and gas.
Great.
But it had a 4.8 out of 5-star rating out of 9,600 some reviews. And when I do the video, I'll do a video on it when I unbox it. I should get it Monday.
What's the brand?
I think it's like a Westinghouse. I think it's the name of the brand.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I don't go with brands and stuff. If it works, it works.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, if it works for your application, it works. That's all that matters.
But yeah, no, and that's what I was thinking because I was looking at Furman's, I was looking at Generac, I was looking at all kinds of stuff, man, and I was trying to find out what the most cost effective was. This one happened to be on sale. I saved $300 on this thing. It's I think it's a 9,500 peak, and I remember you telling me, yeah, and I remember you telling me we had a conversation because when we talk, yeah. That you said at least minimum of like 3,500, I think you said, for your home.
3,500 will power your home.
So I figured I would just go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I always say 3,500. Let me go ahead and take that back. 3,500 will power all of the things in your house that you need. It may not power a dryer, a clothes dryer, right? Because a clothes dryer, I think, takes about 3,000 watts or so. So it may not power that along with your refrigerator, freezer, etc. It may not power your electric water heater if you have an electric water heater, but it'll power your freezer, your refrigerator, your lights, your Wi-Fi, your microwave, all of those things at the same time. You can run off of 3,500 watts. So all of the things that you need, and if it's wintertime, it'll power the, if you don't have electric heat, if you have like, let's say gas heat or fuel heat, fuel oil heat, it'll power the electronics in the system that delivers the heat to your house. So yeah, I mean, that's plenty, but it's always nice to have more. It's always nice to have more power than what you need, because what I plan on doing is I have that Furman. I think you saw me review it a long time ago. And I think it's like 85 or 8,700 watts. So what I plan on doing, I'm never going to use that. I'm only going to use maybe at the most half of that at one time. Right. But what I plan on doing is that if we ever have a long-term power outage, I plan on running my generator during the night and then running my solar during the day. And during the night, when I'm running my generator, whatever the sun did not deliver in energy to my solar generators, I can plug them into the generator and top them off for the next day.
That's smart.
So that's how I would do it for long term.
Having those redundancies and backups.
Yep.
Harvey Black, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I apologize that I haven't been able to see his chat as much because I'm just deep into conversation. But Harvey Black says, question for AP from Heather Hildebrandt: will a 1,000 watt with a surge capacity power 1,000 watt with a surge capacity power a fridge or chest freezer for a short time?
It will power one or the other. So I'm talking in general terms here. So for example, your average refrigerator, I have a 25 cubic foot refrigerator, 25.5 cubic foot refrigerator. It's one of those side-by-sides, freezer refrigerators. That refrigerator only consumes about 400 watts at its max. I'm talking about 400 watts when it surges. So if I had a 1,000 watt surge capacity generator, it's probably about a 600 watt generator continuous probably that you have. So I know that will definitely power my refrigerator. So it'll power one or the other. What you want to do is when you take all of the wattage needs that you have for your home, let's say, for example, I have a refrigerator, I have a freezer. They're roughly about, one is 400 watts, the other one is 300 watts. That's 700 watts. Let's say that my Toyo stove over here takes 300 watts. That's 1,000 watts. Let's say that's everything that I wanted to power with a generator that I purchased. I would want to get a generator that's at least 1.5 times what I need. So if I have 1,000 watts of energy need, I want to get a generator that will continuously output 1,500 watts. All right. So that's how I play it to make sure that I'm always going to have enough.
Jeff, you said it won't run my AC, but Jeff, I'm a prepper.
Yes, it will. Absolutely, it will. It depends on what AC you have.
Right, the HVAC system. But
yeah, it depends on what AC you have.
I've created a redundancy on that. So I bought me one of the roll-around ACs. If I want to just conserve power, for the generator itself and the draw, one of the roll-arounds just to control the coolness in one room. So the family could just go to
there
one
you
room.
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said several times. If you're looking for an AC unit for an emergency, I'm not talking about something for your whole house. Go buy yourself a little $150 5,000 BTU AC unit, which draws about 600 watts, and buy yourself a small generator, one of those quiet generators or the loud generators that runs at least 1,600 watts continuous. That's going to power your AC so that you can go to that one room that will keep your family cool, in the worst of situations. And it'll also power your refrigerator and your freezer at the same time. So it just depends on what type of AC unit you're talking about, because AC units come in all sizes. But if we're talking about an emergency or some sort of crisis where you're not going to get electricity for long term and it's going to be 110, 120 degrees where you live, then, we have to revert to our preps. And in that case, I would say that a small AC with a small generator would do the job in that case.
I see Laura says, I'm thinking about getting a Generac put on my house and adding the solar panels package to it. It's a solid system, at least less from my perspective.
The only thing I don't like about the Generac is that you can't take it with you.
Yeah. It
no, but I mean, it's a good system. Yeah, my brother used to live in Florida, and he had a Generac, and he had a 500-gallon propane tank that was buried. And it's very nice. The power goes out, it automatically turns on the power in your house. It doesn't really skip too much of a beat. But the only thing I really don't like about it is you pay so much for that system, and you pretty much have no choice but to sell it with the house if you ever sell your house. And you can't take it with you anywhere. So, but, to each their own, right? You got to do what works for you.
That's exactly what I would say. If you guys care, I'll throw this up just for a second. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Since you guys are curious, I had it sitting here for a second, then I forgot. But this is the one I'm talking about right here. This is the system I got here. And like I said, I got it on sale, so I was very happy. But we'll see how it does, man. It's going to be better than the old one that I had that's about 10 years old. So there we go. Let me kind of see if I can come back over here. There we go. Get rid of that. Go back to chat. Let me see, what time is it? It's been an hour, folks. Hour. So if you guys have any last questions or anything we want to wrap up, I don't want to keep Rudy. Rudy's had a long day.
Hey, I can stay on, man. I can stay on.
Sure?
Today was a day of rest for me, man. Yesterday we worked on the bunker till like 9:30 at night, and I was beat. So today I said I'm not doing anything. I knew I had an interview earlier today, and I knew I was coming on with you tonight. So I just chilled all day long. I don't think I've done anything productive today whatsoever.
Well, you got to take a break sometimes, man. You got to take a break sometimes. And thank you, Tennessee Tactical. They, like I said, from what I've read, they do make great products. And thank you, Hoot. Rudy, what are you canning next? Prepper Book Club's wondering what you're canning next, Rudy.
My main canning sessions are meat proteins.
Okay.
I love meat, and I love canning meat because it's so easy. However, I will not pressure can meat unless it's cheaper to pressure can it than what it would be for me to buy it at the store. So if I can find beef or chicken at the store for less than what it would cost me to pressure can it, I'm not taking out my pressure cooker or my pressure canner, because that doesn't make any sense to me. You know, like for example, at Costco right now, you can get, I think it comes out to about 6 cans of 72 ounces. So roughly almost 3.5 pounds roughly of chicken for $10.59 of chicken breast. So if I went ahead and I got 6 pounds or 3.5 pounds of chicken breast at the store, I'd be paying roughly $10 for about 3.5 pounds. But then you have to figure in the cost of the lid. Each lid is about 30 cents a piece. So you're looking at another $2.10. Then you have to consider all the time you're going to spend and the energy that you're going to spend doing it. So if I can do it cheaper because I find meat on sale, I absolutely will do it. But if I don't, then I just buy the canned meat. You know, prepping is not about pressure canning alone. It's about getting the things you need at the best price that you can, unless you have unlimited funds. If you have unlimited funds, then, you know, good for you. The better you can prep. But I love, man, I actually just had some pressure canned chicken breast today with my dinner that I pressure canned in 2015.
Nice.
And I opened them and it's delicious. I mean, they're really good. So I'm glad that I pressure can. I must have pressure can about 90 pounds, maybe more than 90 pounds. Yeah, probably about 120, 200 pounds of chicken breast like 5 years ago. And it's still all good and it still tastes great.
You must be like me. I love poultry, chicken and turkey and all that stuff like that. That's I love fish too.
Well, you know, man, the older I get, the harder it is to digest that beef.
Roger that. JM, I have looked into the military surplus Jennies. The ones I found were pretty costly, but you never know if I ever come across one. Someone else said something right before that. I was trying to see. Milo on the ready. And so I'm assuming you're asking me or possibly both of us is, what is your food plan if you're crop failure and your preps? Milo, for me, I have a bunch of different things. My prepper pantry with all my canned goods and lots of tuna and all kinds of other stuff that I have in there, and then I have my rice and my pastas and all my dry beans and stuff like that. But then also my walls of emergency food, my freeze dried food. So from my point of view, you always want to have backup after backup. You want the redundancies to be there. You can't always depend on one thing. So I don't know. That's for me. I don't know if Rudy has anything to add to that or not.
No, I mean, yeah, you have to have a backup. I always say there's different layers to food storage. You know, you always start with your working pantry, and then you take it over to your long-term pantry. Then once you have that, you know, filled to a capacity in number of months or years that you want, then you go to your long-term food storage in the form of dried goods like rice, beans, wheat, sugar, salt, spices, etc. For long-term storage, meaning that you're going to put them away and package them in a way that you can set them and forget them. And because you know they're going to last 2 to 3 decades easily. And then once you have that set aside, then freeze-dried foods from a company, you know, Nutrient Survival. Anyone here that's from Alaska Prepper Channel knows that Nutrient Survival, in my opinion, is the best long-term food storage in the market, bar none. All right, the very best. So yeah, then you go ahead and diversify your foods in that manner. That way you have some of everything, because really you don't want to get stuck eating the same thing in a long-term crisis. You want to have variety. and even getting junk food, even getting comfort foods. You know, I love Nutrient Survival, but they've only been on the scene for about a year. Actually, today's the 15th. They've been on the scene exactly 1 year. They opened up on July 15th of last year. So I have a lot of Mountain House. I have a lot of auction farms, mainly in the form of ingredients-based products, because I really don't like their entrees, but I do like their ingredients-based products, like their peas, their corn, their tomato powder, which is like my favorite. Their dehydrated bell peppers, onions are another one of my favorites. Celery. I like those things from auction farms, but so I have all of those only because I think that Nutrient Survival is the best there is. I'm not going to throw that stuff away. Mountain House is very tasty. It may not have as many nutrients as Nutrient Survival, but man, I haven't ever eaten a Mountain House meal that wasn't very tasty. So to me, it's very important to have things that you can use as a treat, where every once in a while, where you can see maybe stress levels going up, maybe you can take out a few bags of the Mountain House freeze-dried ice cream bars, right? Things like that can bring up morale and make a bad situation into maybe a little bit of a better situation as far as people's cognitive abilities go, so that you don't go crazy eating rice and beans every single day for 6 months.
No, and I guess I could tell folks it's not a secret or nothing like that. I'm going to be doing something with Nutrient Survival. I'm going to be doing this a 14-day thing as well, and documenting it and kind of going over it with you folks as well.
You're going to love it, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of.
I'm excited for you, really.
I've been, I got all kinds. As you're saying things, I'm looking around. There's Mountain House, and there's Augustin's Farms. There's MREs. I'm looking around. It's different stuff, and I'm like, this is going to be something different for me. And me and you have a lot of the same taste. I swear we do, man.
Well, the thing is that and for those of you that aren't over on my channel, go check out the video that I did here, this live stream that I did on Monday. Because the thing is that with any long-term food storage that you have, all right, and in this case, I'm going to talk about Nutrient Survival. You cannot live out of a can, right? You cannot live out of a can. So eventually, you're going to have to do things to spice things up. So, for example, after about 3 or 4 days of eating nothing but Nutrient Survival, exactly how it's recommended on the can, putting this much water in and everything like that, I'm like, you know what? How can I spice this up a little? How can I change it up to where I can change the flavor profile so that I don't have to just be eating the exact same flavor profile every single meal or every 5 meals, because they have 5 different entrees. And that doesn't take anything away from it. You're still getting all of the nutrients and minerals that you need every day, to have to feel good, to have good cognitive abilities, to be able to think clearly, right? But what you're doing is you're changing it just a little bit so that it gives your palate a break from eating the exact same flavor profile every single day. So yeah, man, I'm going to be doing videos on that, man. I've come up with so many different ways to change things up, and pretty delicious, really. I just right before we went on, I just had some Southwest medley with some eggs and carameled onions with chicken. Nice. It was excellent.
I paused on a thing because Klingon Princess was like, "Your little bunker looks like a tiny old West Saloon." AP, I love it.
Hey, maybe I should name it the Saloon.
And then right under that, Hoot Owl says, "Yes, AP did something productive today. He let the dogs out and go to the bathroom."
Yeah, and one of the dogs this morning crapped on one of my rugs.
Oh boy!
I don't know which one it was though. I have no idea. It's never happened before. I think maybe they have an upset stomach. That's why I got up and said, "Hey, I got to let the dogs out." I didn't want them to do that again.
Milo on the ready. I was thrilled with Rudy's test taste of the 50-year-old stuff. Yeah.
Hey, that stuff was good, man. That stuff was actually still good. I can't believe it. It's actually 46 years old, but man, for something to survive 46 years in a can and still taste good. And I'll tell you what, the tomato crystals, man, I was not making it up. I was not like pumping it up. Those tomato crystals taste so good, and they smell so good out of that can after 46 years, and they're still in that good a shape. I'm really happy that I did that video because not only did it teach me, but I hope that it taught other people that, yeah, all of these freeze-dried things that you have, all of these dehydrated foods that you have in number 10 cans, they will last the test of time. They will. So I'm glad that I came along that.
Kaylin, I saw your thing as well. It's nice. And yeah, apartments can be complex with storing food, but try to use whatever space you can and you know, move forward with that. Cause I've lived in apartments before and I was still a prepper at that time and that's when my children were small. So I was prepping for them as well. And I did the best I could.
Well, you know what, Gray, who asked that question?
Kaylin Strain says, that's how I do it, except I'm not able to.
Kaylin.
Yeah. I dehydrate. Plus, I have shelf-life foods.
Yeah, just for emergency purposes, like, you know, last ditch effort, a queen size bed will fit a year's supply of food for one person.
Really?
Just so you know. So if you have 4 people in your family, go ahead and make sure that you fill in that space under your bed with your grains, your salt, your sugar, all that kind of stuff. And there you go. You've got enough grains for about a year's supply for each person under your beds. And then you can use all the other spots, that you normally don't use, the corner of your closets. Usually the first 2 or 3 feet of your closet, the floor is usually not used. So, but anyways, I mean, just use your imagination. You can make a box out of box. I mean, you can make a table out of boxes. You get boxes of whatever food you're ordering and put a nice cloth over it. You can make a table. Like I said, you use your imagination. You'll be able to find room.
And Sherry Leach asked, and I know the answer to this one. It says, Alaska Prepper, did you lose weight on it? And Rudy, from my understanding, you lost about 15 pounds.
Yeah, I lost 15 pounds in 14 days, believe it or not. But let me say this. Nutrient survival is not a diet food. The reason I lost so much weight in 14 days is because I wasn't eating as much, because that food is so full of nutrients that your body is satisfied and it takes away your cravings. And I'll use the same analogy that I've used before. It's kind of like the opposite of when you eat Chinese food. Most people that eat Chinese food, they say, yeah, I eat Chinese food until I'm full, but then an hour later I'm hungry. Well, that's because the food that you ate had dead calories in them. They were calories, but they didn't have any nutrients that your body needed. So your body, an hour later, after you were full, it's already telling you that you're hungry again. So yeah, I'm a believer with the nutrient food. I'm a believer. I actually think they ought to put me on their payroll because I like it so much.
And here's the thing: is I could stand to lose some weight. I'm not using it for that purpose, but it's because I consume. And I've gotten better at it throughout the years, but I do consume basically empty calories. It's just crap sometimes.
Well, and a lot of people do, and it's not really a lot of people's faults. A lot of the food that we buy, even that we think that is good for us, is, it's got the calories and stuff that you need to fuel your body, but not really to fuel the nutrition in your body. Let me tell you a story about yesterday. Yesterday, I had a really long day. I was working on the bunker till like 9:30 at night. So I didn't start working on it till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because I knew my help wasn't going to be here till a certain time. So I ate something before I went out, and I only ate about a total of about 800 calories, right? Thinking that, well, after I'm all done working out there today, I'll come back in and I'll eat a second meal, probably about another 800 calories or so, and I'll be good. I came in at 9:30. I was exhausted. I didn't eat, and I just went to bed. I took a shower. I drank about a gallon of water because I was so thirsty, and I went to bed. So yesterday, I only consumed about less than 900 calories. But I didn't wake up hungry, and I woke up feeling fine. And I attribute that to all of the nutrition that they have in that food, because the nutrition comes from the food and not a pill. So yeah, man, I'm a huge advocate of it. That's probably the only long-term food storage I'll ever buy from now on, unless I see something on sale that's like a comfort food that I want to put away, for those special occasions.
I'm sitting here reading, and Scarzo, you're correct. And I mentioned that to Becky. I said, Becky, what I would like to incorporate with my nutrient survival is what I have in the garden. Like my peppers and onions and stuff like that. Because in a true survival situation, you may be dependent on your survival food and also the food that you're growing. So intermingling the two is to me is a cool idea.
Yeah, and that's what I do, Gray. That's what I do. I take, like, let me see. I think it was 2 days ago. I had some mixed vegetables. You know, I have a big bag of frozen vegetables, like from Costco. So of course I caramelized my onion, and I threw about 2 cups of vegetables in there. You know, I mean, a measly 60, 70 calories worth of vegetables, but they were tasty, and they complemented, you know, the food that I made from Nutrient Survival really well. So it's not just about eating survival food. You know, it's about eating food that's going to fuel your body. Man, I wish that Nutrient Survival would have come to be a lot earlier than it did. I wish they'd been around for years instead of just 1 year, because that's probably everything I would have in my pantry is that. The only drawback with Nutrient Survival is that, for me, is that they don't do any meat proteins. And I like meat. You know, I like my meat. You know, I like my beef. I like my chicken. I like my turkey. I like my Spam, right? But you don't need meat with their food, because it provides you all the nutrition and all the protein you need. On the last 14 days or 15 days or so, I've averaged about 85 or 80 grams of protein a day, which is pretty good for an adult.
Right.
You know, but, you know, every once in a while, like today, I had some chicken with my food. Yesterday, the last 2 or 3 days, I didn't have any meat because I didn't feel like eating meat. But whenever you want to add meat to it, just add some meat to it. Yeah, it's a good product.
Yeah, see, so let me answer. I think Jen and Laura, you guys were talking about rodents and stuff like that. If you're going to store food, I'm assuming, and I want to ask this question because I use Tractor Supply for my food grade buckets right now, but I'm trying to find more of a bulk supplier. But if you use a food grade bucket, some people, what are those lids called? Some people like to use they're kind of expensive, those lids. I can't think of the dang name of them right now. Looks like there's like a little thing on the lid.
Gamma lids?
Gamma lids.
Gamma lids.
And also your Mylar, and sealing up your Mylar in these buckets, and then your lids on there, and make sure they have if you want to use Gamma or the rubber seals. Once you seal all this in there, rodents are not going to get in there. I mean, as far as I know, I've never had that issue.
It's got to be a really big rat to chew through a bucket.
Maybe
I've heard it happen before, but not with just like here. Here I have a lot of buckets put away in an area where I know that there are field mice. I've never had anything chew through it. All right. But I have heard of places where, like, they have big rats, like the big rats that are nasty, that would chew through a bucket. So you just have to be selective about where you store your product, your long-term food storage.
Oh man. You guys are crazy. Sometimes the chat goes off the rails. What was it? Someone asked me something. Rudy ever thought about ever getting your own freeze dryer?
I have thought of it. I don't really have the room in my house. However, the bunker might come with one. Who knows? We'll see.
I've seen this come across. So a lot of folks, Rudy, outside of building your bunker, do you feel, because this is going to probably dispel these people keep on putting this in chat. People saying, well, Rudy, you're losing weight because you're working on your bunker. Now, outside of that, do you, like, when you're not building something, you're usually active in your gardening and your preps and stuff like that? I would assume.
Oh yeah, I mean, people are gonna think what they want to think.
Right.
I'm working on my bunker out there, but the fact is that the food that I'm eating, I don't require as many calories as I normally eat because I don't feel hungry, because my body's not telling me that I'm hungry.
Right.
So, but hey, only time will tell. Eventually the bunker will get done and we'll see. I mean, if all it takes is to build a bunker to lose weight, then maybe I'll build another one next year. So we'll see.
Milo says he lives in Alaska. Winter comes, it's a freeze dryer. Oh boy. But yeah, and that's what I've been doing. So I like I said, folks, I'm a research nerd when it comes to certain things. I've looked into the contents that are going into the nutrient survival. I've looked into the caloric intake that you can get from it and how many calories. So when something has a dense, okay, so everybody says, well, you need to add a multivitamin. Well, there's
not to nutrient survival. You don't.
Right. Multivitamins, I've told you folks in the past, I think it was it the other night, I think I might have said it to some folks, make sure when you look at a multivitamin that you dig into the research in the some of these multivitamins are filled with fillers that do nothing for you, and sometimes the vitamins in there cancel each other out because you're trying to figure, they're trying to take all the vitamins you're supposed to have in one day and put it in this little tiny pill. There's a lot of research out there, so I say do your research on a multivitamin if you plan on consuming that down the road. Because there's a lot of harmful fillers in some of these I got not medication, but over the counter multivitamins.
You know what, Gray? All I can do is tell people my experience.
Right.
I was working outside and doing stuff all day before I started my little journey with nutrient survival. Excuse me. I was doing all that stuff and I was eating the foods that I was used to eating before. And once I started on nutrient survival, like I said during my live stream, it's not really about the weight loss for me. It's about how I feel. I mean, I feel like really good all the time. Like I'm not craving sugar at all, ever. I haven't craved sugar one bit since I started eating this food. And I used to be the type of guy that at 6:37, I was on that couch there with some ice cream or some chocolate because my body said, you want sugar, you need chocolate, you need something every single night. So all I can do is share my experience with people. Whatever anyone wants to think, that's up to them. They're going to think what they want to think. But, one thing that I tell the Alaska prepper community is that I would never, ever lie to them just to try to get them to buy something, because to me, that's kind of disgusting, for you to lie to someone just so that they can buy a product so that you can make $1. No, I mean, I honestly feel great. I feel great. It's like night and day. And it wasn't overnight. It took about 3 days or so after I started eating this for me to wake up and be like, man, I feel great. And I attribute that too. And you probably know about this, Gray. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. Mm-hmm. It probably took 3 days for my body to saturate with all of the nutrients that I was getting from that food. Yeah, you think that's why it took me about 3 days to finally realize, yeah.
Yeah, it's so your body, whenever you do something new to your body, it has to go through an adjustment period. You know what I'm saying? So let's say if you quit.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I figured.
And that's with anything. Let's say smoking. You know what I mean? You quit smoking and then you do something else. There's an adjustment period. Yeah. Your heart, your blood pressure gets better, and so on and so forth, and all that stuff. So it's just like when you change your diet.
Am I coming in all right?
You look fine to me. I mean, every once in a while it'll get like
really. You're coming in all broken up here.
Looks fine on YouTube and on here. What was I going to say? Like I said, a lot of you folks, I've told you my story. About, let me see. It's been about 3 or 4 years ago. I was 402 pounds, folks. 402 pounds. I am now 265. And all I did, there was no exercise involved. I was too big to do exercise.
Hey, Gray, let me jump in real quick, man. Let me go ahead and let me sign off and let me come back in.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, give me a second.
Roger that. I was huge. And sure, some people say, "Oh, you could walk, you can do this." I was in pain. There was so much stuff wrong. All I did was change what I consumed. I call it clean eating. Not eating bags of Oreos and chocolate milk and and fast foods and all that stuff like that. So I changed my life by the food that I consumed. And that's why my curiosity was piqued with this survival food. Now, in my life, I've had MREs and all kinds of other stuff like that, and they're very nutrient dense. But if you have ever been in the military, MREs can be rough on your GI. that it can. But I'm just saying, food has a lot to do with your mental clarity, your well-being, your body's health in general. No, D14, I did not. I'm 6'1" still. I'm still 6'1", like I said. But I lost. It was crazy because I literally lost a human being. And there was reasons why I gained the weight. I was a diabetic for the last 2 years. Every time I go for my 6-month physical, they say no, we don't see any signs of that. So I'm no longer, for the last 2 years, I haven't been a diabetic. I've been able to consume a sweet product. Let's say I used to check my sugar right after Thanksgiving when this first started happening to me, and it was fine. I was able to consume carbs and all that stuff like that on a special occasion and not spike my blood sugar. So as they call it, I don't know if it's called remission or reversal of type 2 diabetes, but so nutrition has a lot to do with the well-being of your body.
Yeah, I'm a believer now, man. I'm a believer that that's true. And you know what? I've taken multivitamins a lot, and they've never made me feel the way that I feel now.
Ghetto Prepper has a question that just popped up. I saw Swamp Billy. Oh, you guys are dang it, GreyMan. Now I want a bad. Yeah, I hear you, Sherry. It says, Ghetto Prepper, Rudy, have you ever grown any of the Augustin Farm seeds? On a side note, you can purchase them from Walmart using EBT. I've seen that question.
I have never grown any of their seeds. Yeah, I have never grown any of their seeds. I do have one of their cans. Excuse me. They're packaged for long term, so I don't plan on opening them unless I need them. But I have never grown any of their seeds. But hey, listen, however you can get them, get them. You know, if you can get them at Walmart using an EBT card, heck, by all means, get them while you still can. You know, because there may come a day where it doesn't matter how much money you have or what form of payment you use, you may not be able to get them.
That's awesome, Swamp Billy, and thank you guys for the encouragement. And the reason I like to tell that story to folks, let me see here. Gut health is linked to the brain. Northern Girl, you're absolutely right. We can do a whole thing on that. North Cal Prepper Jason, thank you so much for the super chat. Gray, you're telling the truth. Magnesium and fiber. Where was I going with that? Man, now I lost my train of thought. Dang it. It's just because there's people out there that were in that same situation I was. I was just in a really bad place. And I always tell people, if I can do it, you can do it. I want to let people know that there is hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel in most situations you're in. Especially when it comes to weight issues and things like that. Because I know it's hard. You'll hear a lot of preppers say, well, if you're not top physical peak performance, you're going to die. I would not let that eat away at you, man. Try to just get in the best shape as you possibly can. It's a consistent thing for me. I'm always trying to better my life. You guys see me when I'm on the hikes. You see me, running my gear on my back in the Florida sun or out in the woods, and I'm doing 5 and 10 miles. I used to not be able to do that. Now I do it just to kind of, get used to wearing that kind of gear in case I ever have a situation where I have to walk 10 miles or 15 miles or whatever the case may be. But I guess that's my rant about nutrition.
Hey, Gray.
Yes.
Hey, Gray. Hey, listen, brother. Let me go ahead and take off. I'll finish watching the live on YouTube. For some reason, my internet is just like really super slow all of a sudden. So I can barely hear what you're saying whenever you're saying it, and I can't even see you on my screen.
Okay. Well, I'm going to probably wrap it up here soon anyways. It's an hour and a half in, if you can hear me. But I appreciate you hanging out with me, Rudy, as always, and we'll talk later if you can hear me.
Man. It's always a lot of fun, brother. Always a lot of fun, man. I'm glad that I stopped by today. Yes, anytime. Look at that. Now that I'm getting ready to go, everything's back good. That's how
it always happens.
Anyways, we'll go ahead and call it good, man. I know you got to work early in the morning, so hey, thanks again for having me, man. Thanks again to everyone here. What time does the sun? Well, someone asked, what time does the sun go down? Between the months of like June and the end of July, middle of August, the sun goes down, but it's not dark. it's always daylight. You don't need your headlights to drive. Let's put it that way. So yeah, pretty much sun all day long here. So all right, hey, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having me today. Thank you, brother. Always happy to come on and chat it up with you.
I appreciate it, brother, and I'll chat with you soon enough.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
Hey, if you can, after you're done here, give me a quick call. I'm only going to take about 5 minutes of your time.
Roger that. I got you, brother.
All right, if you can. All right, man. Take care, brother. God bless.
You as well. All right. I saw North Cal Prepper Jason. Water, magnesium, fiber lowers blood pressure and blood sugar. Love you, Rudy. Ha ha ha. All right. Great chat tonight. Thank you both. Adapt, overcome using mind over matter. That was great. Thank you, Rudy and GreyMan. Great show, guys, tonight. Cheers, all. Thanks for joining. Market Rolling Homestead, eyes open. Keep on prepping. Y'all have a great weekend. All right. So, yeah, that's good. I wanted to make sure we're all wrapping it up, man. I want to say thanks again to Rudy for joining me and taking time out of his busy schedule and all that. And all the people. And I want to apologize in advance if I missed any questions. And I just want to say thank you to all in chat. For being here and hanging out with us this because I know it's late for some of you. Here I'm on the East Coast, so it's really late for me. So thank you for all the super chatters, for all the members, for the mods and everything that you guys do. Truly appreciate all of you folks. Thursday is kind of my Friday on YouTube. I take the next 2 days off to spend with family, and I'll be back on Sunday with the Sunday shift report. Other than that, I do have a few things coming up that I'll discuss here coming up this week. I have some pretty cool things. I'm going to be doing some extra stuff for members, and I will also be doing stuff for the subscribers. So I got some stuff coming up, folks, that I'm going to be talking about this week. So look forward to that as well. Other than that, I want to say thank you all again. I think I probably said thank you 100 times. I'm just very thankful for you guys to hang out with us. But all right, you guys have a great night. God bless. This is GreyMan, and I'm out. And I will see you folks on the rebound on Sunday. Good night. North Cal Prepper, thank you so much for the super sticker. You're lucky. I was about to push that button, North Cal. Thank you so much, brother, for the super sticker. God bless and good night, everyone. Thank you.